Yo, what's going on, gamers, and welcome to the first episode of Tide the Leader, a podcast dedicated to exploring the history of Halo and the people in it, past, present, and future. We'll be covering it all. My name is Mikowski. Joined alongside me is my duo on each show, Eli the Ninja. Eli, welcome to the stream.
What's going on, man? This is such a fun idea. I feel like we've been talking about doing this forever, and we're just now finally getting around to doing it. We're like, it would be dope if we just did a podcast and had all the best people in Halo come on it. So I'm excited that we're finally actually doing it.
And I'm really excited for our first ever guest. I feel like the first guest is really special because they're taking a leap of faith, right? They're trusting that we're not going to be just two knuckleheads doing a podcast with a boom mic and a Go XLR setup. I promise we're not just that. And not just the typical Halo pro, a legend in the scene, 20 years of Halo history behind him. Best man, welcome to the first episode of Tide the Leader. How's it going, brother?
It's going great. I'm glad to be on. It kind of feels like a conversation that, we probably have like at every event. Now we can just actually talk about it on camera.
It's so funny you say that because I had the exact same conversation with somebody earlier. I said, you know what? If the casual Halo fan was as teed in as the hardcore Halo fan is, which is most of us, I think they'd be a lot more interested in Halo because there are a lot of intricacies, personalities, storylines, and my God, the narratives and the history is really deep, which is why we're really excited about Tide the Leader. I want to take it to the very beginning and talk me through your early days of competitive gaming and how you got your gamer tag.
Let's see. Well, how I got my gamer tag, it was originally the best man, and there was no cool capitalizations. It was just capital T, capital B, capital M. And my nickname in high school one year was Goodman. They called me a Goodman, Goodman. I just got this nickname, and for whatever reason, when I got the Xbox on Christmas in 2004, that's what I came up with. And I don't know why. I don't know. I wish I would have kept Goodman. That sounds a lot better. But would have cracked down on a few of the jokes back in the day. Oh, you're best man of the wedding. I was like, oh my God. That's how many times I heard that. Especially back then. But like everybody, I was a Christmas noob. But I played Halo. Every now and then at a friend's house. I never had an Xbox. I heard about Halo 2 from a friend. I'm like, that's what I wanted for Christmas. My friends were playing it. Everybody was playing it that played video games back then was playing Halo 2. And so it was a little bit late. I didn't get it on release date or anything. And casually just played, big team, whatever, Team Slayer, all the casual stuff. And I honestly can't remember how I got into competitive. It was probably just like everyone else. You just kind of stumble upon it. I started playing the BR starts or getting into the lobbies where they're playing MLG games and stuff like that. And I eventually met some local people, and I might throw out some names that you guys might remember, might not. But there was Crosshair, Red Dot. There's a bunch of Carlisle, Pennsylvania kids. These are all Xena's locals. Xena's brothers, JMB, Burton 4. They are all playing, and they all land and stuff like that. Somehow I met them on Xbox Live through a friend, and blah blah blah. So pretty much just this local PA scene of Xena and a bunch of other people. Actually, a guy named Stints who's still in the community. He builds PCs now. He was one of the original ones I started playing with back in the day. So it happened just like that. I went to T-Mackin. Eli would remember. You guys both remember T-Mackin.
Oh yeah,
that was probably
that's hilarious, bro.
Yeah, that's probably who I met that started getting into MLG because he was in it before I was, and then somehow got signed up on MLG forums, and everything just snowballed from there. And I went to my first event in Philly, 2005. I think it was in the summer. A team with T-Mac and
the Slayer tourney, right? All Slayers,
all Slayer, and it was a Halo 1 tournament as well. Halo 1, Halo 2, and Halo 2 was all Slayer. And a team with T-Mackin, Bazooka, and Hitman. Those were two brothers, all from Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And we got top 64 or something. We won a couple rounds and then lost a couple rounds. And I don't know how many teams there. I don't think it was one that had 200. It was probably 120 teams maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. I played a lot of free-for-all back then too. That's kind of what got me hooked. Really just gravitated towards free-for-all. Because you were able to beat people and wouldn't have to rely on your teammates not being as good as you. Because I felt like I was progressing a lot better than everyone I was playing with. And back then you actually had Beaver Creek and Midship. You one round was Midship, one round was Beaver Creek, other round was Midship, other round was Beaver Creek. So that was really interesting. So like the first round I played Midship, and then the next one I played Beaver Creek and lost. So I was super salty because Beaver Creek was horrible free for all map. Do you remember? Oh man, Crackalaca.
Oh yeah, he was my local in Virginia. Yeah,
He was in my free for all, and Blue Fuzzy Panda. Does that sound like a? You remember
or Blue Fuzzy Bunny? Bunny, maybe.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. There was two of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
So those were the notable names in my free for all back then, and I lost. So yeah, that's pretty much the start. And then 2006 is when I started going to every event and just working my way up.
Did you guys play with Rockets in the FFA? The Rockets and Overshield? Dude, that sounds awful.
I'm pretty sure.
I would be pretty salty too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everything was in. There might be one person out there that could remember, but I know 100% Beaver Creek was in because we were warming up playing both.
I remember that.
I was like, warming up playing both, and I'm like, why is Beaver Creek in here? But then again, Philly also had Backwash Slayer.
Oh yeah, dude, Backwash was so bad.
They had Colossus Snipes, which
Gemini.
They had Gemini Slayer, Colossus Snipes, which was actually a fire game type.
Yeah,
that really was honestly that was low-key
Sanctuary Snipes too, right?
Sanctuary Snipes, but yeah, Gemini and Backwash Slayer. People want to complain nowadays. So you don't know what that term was.
Right,
it's super interesting.
People complain about some of the game types nowadays being like unbalanced, bro. Go back and watch the finals of that tournament and you'll see Zios literally standing in front of a teleporter just swinging a sword. They just swinging the sword repeatedly at the teleporter, and that was like the meta, bro. Like that map was not good for competitive.
People always said there was a conspiracy to dethrone Final Boss or Team 3D, I think it was at the time, because they had never dropped a Halo 2 tournament, and the only game types where they had a little trouble, well, history repeats itself. It's still like that to this day. The best teams can lose those Slayers sometimes against lower ranked teams, which they did often. Not often enough to lose tournaments or even series in most cases. But Philly comes along and like, what's up with this? What's up with this format? Slayers only, and Carbon, I believe, dethroned Final Boss at that tournament. It was the first time they got a chance to start winning and experiencing that for themselves, because it wasn't until 06 that they won the national championship, and that was an 05 tournament, right? Philly 05, Nick, I believe.
I think it was actually straight one. T-squared
one. Straight one. That's right. It was straight Carbon.
It was the tournament where MTV True. What was it? MTV True Life.
That's right.
They were T-squared.
Yeah, they were following around that tournament. I remember watching the episode because Defy, who I still talk to, my one of my duos from back in the day, he was in the show, like when they're recording him like playing a Halo 1 free for all or something, and T2's going back and forth with someone, like just all
playing it up to the camera,
Yeah, exactly.
Stupid noob.
Yeah, and
that's where he might have said something worse than that at the time, but
that's where he wore his girlfriend's panties on his head and all this stuff.
It's such interesting antics back then. It's a totally different time, man.
How did that play into like your motivation to get into Halo? Because it's we're joking about it now, but for a lot of people, they saw MTV True Life and were like, "Hey, yo, this is for real. Like, I could get a job, I could get girls, I could get everything I want by playing Halo."
The TV show, like, I'm trying to remember when it came out, but I remember just from my experience, like back then, like seeing the ogres walk around and like Walsh, it was like, they were like actual rock stars back then. You know what I mean? Like they had the jerseys on, they always walked together. Like they didn't really talk to anybody else outside of their teams. Maybe just like, the groupie friends that they had around. So yeah, that definitely played into the motivation of getting better. Like no one really cared. There was no real money back then. Like, yeah, it's just all about wanting to get better, be a pro player. And, just there was like that mythical creature around certain players, and T-Square is definitely one of them. Like he was just so like, he's kind of like the alpha back then. You know what I mean? Like the way he acted, and the show, and then even like the MLG shows coming on the USA at 10 in the morning. Like watching that stuff, it's like, dang, I got to get there, and kind of just creeping up the ranks. And Eli's in a similar spot. And we teamed as well, just trying to get top 8. Like top 8 was like such a big deal back then. It was so hard to get top 8, like because there's so many teams, so many good teams, and me and him were kind of like on the outskirts of the political realm. Like Halo's always had like a politics to it, so trying to make your own team and come up was really, really hard. And you saw it a few times with like 5K or those outsider teams that eventually just broke in and got good. But yeah, that definitely played into motivation of getting better. Just seeing pros back then. you can only have 100 people in your friends list too. Like, so you just
Bro,
there were so many like building blocks or like steps to like
barriers, dude.
yeah, like you had to break down.
There
It
were
wasn't like-
levels to getting into the scene for sure.
yeah, you couldn't just go to someone's Twitch and see an ogre streaming, or you know what I mean, like playing with them. It's like, holy crap! I remember matching ogres in doubles and on Lockout Slayer and just losing like 25-5 or whatever it was, and I was like, holy crap! Just play with the ogres. And then eventually like a year or two goes by, and I'm playing hardcore with them, and it's just like kind of surreal to think about.
It's crazy because I think for a lot of us, like the montage and free for alls were sort of how we like came up. Like, wasn't enough to just be the best free for all player in the lobby. You had to like show proof of it, right? Picture it didn't happen. I remember being like sort of a thing at that point, and so everybody started clipping their content, recording their games. But you guys actually, you alluded to this earlier, Nick. You guys teamed together way back in 07, I want to say, and this is kind of right when you started finding your footing. How did you guys link up, and was it sort of trails of that montage free for all community that you guys were a part of, or how did you guys ultimately become teammates?
I don't really remember. Do you? Like
I was hoping you knew, because like straight up, I couldn't really. It was probably through free for all lobbies, I would assume, like sometime in 05, I would guess. Maybe we just ended up in the same FFA lobby. I feel like you and I had like the same sense of humor. Like we're just like sarcastic and like self-deprecating, but also like confident. I don't know. We had like a pretty similar personality type, so we hit it off pretty quick. And then like I've got this is your wiki right here. So I guess it was only maybe one of your fourth tournaments was Chicago 06, because you said you went to Philly.
Yeah.
And then maybe there's some other results where you didn't get the top 32 that aren't being shown here.
So Meadowlands 06 isn't on there. I teamed with Thor. Oh man, who the heck else was on my team? It'll come back to me. But yeah, we got like top 32 AM or top 48 AM or whatever it was. And then Thor was also like he was like a Maryland kid like Burns was. Thor, Burns, Defy, Mac, Vash. Those were all the local kids. Those were like the people I hung out with around then. And yeah, sometime in 06 we played a lot together, because that's when I'm pretty sure we figured out who Snipe Down was around then. And
that was all through free for alls. That was all free for all based.
So yeah, 06 was pretty much top 24 all year, and then
that's what sticks out to me.
Yeah, had a good event in Orlando. Team Bullets and Sure Shot were really good. Xenios was pretty solid as well. And then I teamed with got on Dr. Bob. I played with a lot. He actually did pass away.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, sometime after that, maybe like 08 or 09.
Rest in peace, Dr. Bob.
Yeah, Overshield and Donut. I think Donut's been around maybe.
Wow, Donut. Recently. That's an old name I remember. Wow.
Yeah, he was a Florida kid.
But this is really impressive, dude. You get a top 32 for 2 years straight. Talk me through how you stick through it and ultimately break through despite 2 years of, I think it looked like all top 24s. It was consistent.
Yeah, I think that if you go down a little bit back to the 06, late 07, I think was getting that playoffs, like when I teamed with Dr. Bob, Overshield, and Donut, because they had been top 16, top 12 before. At least Dr. Bob and Overshield have, and they were like they had been playing for a while and like actually really good. So like getting a team with them, and like I'm pretty sure we beat a good team or two at that event, and then that off season, we made that Eli 8-Ball Spaniard team, and we were actually a really, really good team, like online especially. Like we didn't play like Carbon straight FB or Carbon and FB and maybe a couple of the other pro teams, but I think we played straight Rippin' a lot. Like they were one of the few teams that would actually scrim us out, and then everyone else we would just beat. Like we wouldn't lose scrims. We had a good placing. We got top 12 at Charlotte. We only lost to FB and
Carbon, I think.
Carbon, yeah. So because Carbon lost early. Yeah,
nice bracket.
Carbon got upset early, so when we're like the 6-team seed or whatever, so you play like those really good teams. And
Final Boss. Dude, I played Final Boss round 2, like I think 3 or 4 events that year. Like just because we were always on the fringe, like that 16, 17, and then of course if you win round 1, then the way a 32 bracket works, like you play the 1 seed next. So.
Yes. So we had really good placing in that tournament, and ultimately we decided to drop Spaniard, which was a mistake. This was like the turning point when I looked back and reflected on team changes, that if you just drop your weakest player statistically, you're not going to get better if you pick up someone who's a Slayer or a completely different role. Like this was like the first time where it's like, oh shit, like Spaniard may have not been the most individually skilled player, but he was just like the definition of a team player and objective player. And when you had like me, 8Ball, and Eli, like just going around killing everything, especially Eli and 8Ball, like I was more like a support guy back in the day. I mean, pretty much my whole career I was. But when you could see our next place in got top 32, and then we decided to make. And then once we decided to pick up Smoltz and Brad, then we actually became the online God Squad. Like I don't think we lost. We didn't lose to anybody. Like if we played a pro team, we wouldn't lose them. They would stop scrimming us.
Yeah, we beat Final Boss. We beat Straight like multiple times.
Yeah, Straight was our practice noobs for sure.
Wow.
That was when it was like it was like T Squared, Havoc, Mimic, and a Neighbor.
Neighbor, yeah.
Yeah. So it was like the weaker Straight ripping team, but that event as well, we played Final Boss early and then
lost to Exit game 5.
Yeah, Exit game 5. We beat Exit. I think we get top 8 or top 6 at least. So
they were way better than our placement that tournament for sure.
And then, next event, we kind of all break up. I don't know, whatever the reason was. We were all young and whatever. I somehow got on Mac and B's team. Me and Smoltz went there. And we didn't really practice that much, but, like, we were really good. We beat good teams to get top 8. So we beat, like, Storm Ventures. We beat Legend JRG's team. I can't remember. It might have been Nice Like Rice. And then we made the same mistake again. We dropped Smoltz for Vash because we knew Vash, and then we ended up getting top 16. So I'm just grinding, trying to be consistent top 8 on just like Halo is now. A lot of different team changes. The next event's a completely different team. A team of Frosty, Boo, and Pow Weezy, and we were also a really good team. Pow Weezy is probably a name a lot of people won't remember, but he probably could have been one of the best Halo players of all time if he had a better situation in life. He was like a couple years younger than me at that point, and he won MVP at Chicago.
Yeah, no, he was insane.
Yeah, like he went like plus 300 or something.
It was insane.
I don't want to give out too much information, but he was just one of those players, kind of like Soviet, like a what if. Like Soviet obviously had a decent career, but those two players, if they had better situations in life, I think they could have been some of the best Halo players ever because they were just so individually skilled.
I was going to say, I don't know, just looking this over and listening to the way you talk about it, like, to me, it kind of feels like the Halo 2 and then probably throughout Halo 3 as well. But like when you're recognizing that dropping your objective player and then picking up a Slayer, like the team's just functionally not the same anymore. So like good placement with the objective player, pick up a Slayer and do worse. Like I feel like you're kind of like building your Halo brain over time. You're like, wow, maybe like it is really important to focus on the macro of the game and have different players that have different focuses. And I feel like that probably plays to your strengths now as a coach because you just had so much experience seeing like the action, like you feel the effect of making these team changes tournament after tournament.
Yeah.
And nowadays to be like an input, and we'll get to it later. Like I'm not sure how much actual input you've had in like the team changes that have happened with Shopify, for example.
Yeah.
But that experience definitely makes you a better coach overall, would you say?
Yeah, for sure. And I do think this recent roster, it was a team decision, but from like what I wanted, it made sense completely. And we could talk a little bit later when we get to more present time. I think that'd be a good thing to circle back on. Like that does kind of reflect on this. Like not like just not 100%, but like it does make sense. You can't just put like you could put four Lucids on a team and they might win every event, but like that's the anomaly. You know what I mean? Like, but you can't do that with every single player.
The Lucid's that one guy that you probably could build a team around, and it's just him.
I don't want to cause any drama, but I think Renegade's I think Renegade overall is probably the best player in the game, but Lucid is like a more well-rounded player than Renegade is. If that makes any sense. Like I don't know. Like then I also think Snakebite's the best on that team too sometimes. So I don't know. Like my thoughts always change. So yeah, pretty much. First year at Halo 3 was kind of a disaster for me.
I see that. I didn't remember.
Yeah, like oh my god, like the first event at the Defy team. Yeah, I had a team. It was me, Frosty, Soldier, and Ant, and somehow I ended up with Defy and Defy's local stunner JP. I don't know if you would remember him, Eli.
Not really. No.
His gamer tag was Lunatic, like I Lunatic.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
He's actually Burns' cousin.
Okay.
So that team was a disaster. We actually had 5th seed because you remember we got seeded online for the opener since it was a new game. We lost to Straight in the winners, and then we lost to like just the worst team. Like we lost to like Squirrel's team or something for top 16.
Oh no.
Like just the
That's
worst.
right. Squirrel did get top 16 at that event.
Yeah,
it was to beat you. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was like Squirrel, Anthrax. It was like maybe not
Homicide
Anthrax
on that team.
No, I don't think so. You could pull up Meadowlands 08 actually. Yeah,
Right,
I haven't looked at this in a long time, but yeah, go to that top.
There's me though on the top.
Yeah, we get it. You hit side down. It was Cleat. It was Cleat. It was.
Wow. Okay, so they had a gunner. They had a gunny on the squad.
And Snuff. Snuff was really good too.
Wait, Assault was your coach too? Is that the Canadian Assault was their coach? I feel
Maybe.
Like it was.
I don't know.
Anyways.
Yeah, just terrible. We lost to Straight, who wasn't that. They weren't that good in the beginning either. Like, dude, we actually could have won that series.
Look, if you keep looking down, there are so many legends that didn't even get top 16 this event. There's Pistola, Snakebite.
Yeah, but Snakebite was like 14 probably.
APG's down here, dude. This is wild. What year? What year was this again? This was
08.
It was 08. This is the first event of Halo 3.
Okay. Wow. That's incredible.
Like, I actually remember this because I think I had finished my match or whatever, and I was just walking around, and I was trying to I'm not that tall. I was trying to look over people's shoulder to see what's going on in this game, and I knew it was Snakebite's team, and I thought I saw him early on being like a potential superstar because he was slaying out in online scrims and stuff, and I just asked a random person in the crowd. I said, "Who's playing here?" And this woman turns around. She goes, "That's my son. He's Snakebite."
Yeah, I remember his mom.
Yeah, his mom was like, "He's going to be the best player in the world one day." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, lady." But she was right, bro. I mean, there's something to that, right?
Funny story. I met Snakebite at, what was the league that scammed us? EGL or something like that?
EGL?
Yeah. So there was DC, which we went to, I think. We teamed at. Then there was a New Jersey one. I went to it and I won the free-for-all and fours. Didn't get paid for either. But I met Snakebite there. So this was 07. So he was like 12. And I talked to his mom while he was there. And that, for some reason, stuck with me for like ever. Because I remember, because it was like 2 years later, this kid's like getting top 16. I'm like, wait, I remember this kid was a little chubby squeaker.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just funny. Like, EGL New Jersey. I mean, I don't know if you remember DC, but just some random hotel off the highway in Jersey City, maybe. Like maybe not even Jersey City. I don't remember. I just can't believe we went to those tournaments. Some tournaments.
I think we got like 4th, and we lost to Exit. It was like me, you, Fix, and I can't even remember who our 4th was. And I think
it was 8Ball.
Oh, was it 8Ball? It was Shane.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah, he was there.
And then.
Exit was there. Defy's team was there. Like there was good teams at these tournaments, and no one got paid at.
Crazy, dude. I think Devious won that FFA. What he's up to these days.
There's another like FFA god back in the day.
Yeah,
he would crush lobbies online too. But yeah, going forward, that first year Halo 3 was a little rough. A lot of bad team changes. A lot of a lot of mistakes were made, but yeah, and it ended up making that after we had that Fear team, Defy, Gandhi, and Fear was on that classic team when they got second. So like he had been an online kid forever. Like those were like the OG online kids, and he was just a terrible 4th. He had so many different problems in life. But anyways, yeah. And we picked up Nated for Toronto, and we had the full-on Nated experience that event. It was a solid team, but we actually lost to like I think we lost to like FB and Straight that event too. Like it's just something ridiculous. Oh no, wait, no, we lost to you guys for top 8.
Yeah, I think you lost to us. I was gonna say it was game 5, wasn't it?
No, yeah, we lost to Straight game 5 in winners on Guardian Slayer. And then we lost to you guys Guardian Slayer game 5 for top 8.
Oh god.
Oh man.
Like the worst game type ever. Guardian Slayer might have been the worst Slayer.
You got your revenge though at the So was it the next tournament?
So we picked up Legend, who was also on Classic. So we got another person with a terrible attitude.
Sean, right?
But he was also really good player. Didn't call out much, but when we got to tournaments, he did his thing. I can't lie. So we made that Dallas 2018, another one of those events where you need one team to make it to the 8th spot. We lost first round to Florida Jackalopes. If you scroll down, you might see their team.
11,
it was like, right there. 11, Slim, Synox.
Twilight King. Wow. Or Light King. Sorry.
HS Light King.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we lost to them first round, and this is like, so back then we started in like winners 5 or something like that.
Yeah, you're right. We had a bye.
And then so we lost. Literally played, I think, 8 matches to get the 8th spot, all the way up to beating Eli's team for the 8th spot. And like, they might have been a better team than us, but like there was no stopping us winning that day. Like after losing and playing that much in a row, and how much controlled substances may have been in certain people's bodies, like, you know what I mean? Like energy drinks. I remember this because we won the winners bracket of the Open. And you sat there for a while.
Dude, we waited for like 4 hours before we played again. And meanwhile, Best Man's just pumping full of adrenaline in the losers bracket, just going ham. And then like, honestly, we were kind of cocky about it. We thought like, oh yeah, we won this. They lost to Florida Jackalopes earlier. They're going to be easy to beat. And then
one of the worst losses I've ever had in a tournament against that team.
Yeah.
11 didn't even play Halo 3. 11 was a Halo 1 kid. If you guys remember
that's right. I remember that. Yeah. I remember when you guys lost, we were looking at the bracket and we're like, they lost to them? What? Like we were so confused.
So anyways, a lot of those teams we beat Status Quo. We beat, I think, Exit, whatever their team was. It's not filled in. We beat Gotta Love the Sun. And then we beat Breaking Point. And then we beat Eli's team. And we got the 8th spot. And then we had a decent series against Instinct or somebody. And then just lost losers bracket to whoever.
Yeah.
We actually did go to Game 5 of Classic. And then we lost to like Carbon,
Did you have a good series against Classic in that one? Because you joined their team shortly after. There was the next event, wasn't it?
Yeah,
no,
I guess
it was 2 events later.
Yeah,
Ooh, okay.
we did go to Game 5 against them, but like back then, those were like my friends, like Soldier, Legend, and those are guys I played with in Halo 3 a lot. Defy, obviously. Yeah, in the off season, we me and Defy we got Karma Nated on our team.
Yeah.
And that was probably the worst team I've ever been on in my life.
That's so crazy. Looking at the names, like this is a crazy roster.
There was an event, Karma and Nated didn't make it out of open bracket. Do you guys remember that?
It was the next one after this.
Yep. This was start of the downhill. This wasn't the downhill, actually.
Yeah, so our practice regimens were so bad, it got to the point where they wanted to practice without calling out. So Karma and Nated would just have no mics in scrims. And you could ask, Defy would be the only other person to know this. I swear on everything this happened. I mean, you guys know, like, I truly do like Nated, but like he had so many different eras of his career where he just had something always happened with him. And it was just like a black cloud around him and it affected everything. But yeah, I mean, probably one of the most individually skilled players of all time, especially not to win an event.
For sure.
It'd go him, then me, but that's here nor there.
Well, that's kind of crazy because you did get all the way to the grand finals of a national championship, right? And this was when Hysteria's Xbox lagged out, didn't it? Like, wasn't this part of this, or was this the tournament before?
Yeah, so this was it. So, but basically, 09 was the start of like actually placing well, doing well. After this, I'd get on Classic, and we got 4th, and it was a pretty good 4th too. Like all our series are really competitive. We upset Instinct, I think, for top 4.
Oh wow, that's crazy. That's right. You took down Walshy. That was when they started to make team changes. I think right after for Instinct. I think Pistola joined shortly after, maybe. I forget.
We lost the FB. We lost the final boss. I remember that series. It was Game 4, all close games, and I was like, "Damn, we're actually a really good team." The next couple events, we get top 6. And then, but it wasn't like they weren't bad top 6s. It's just like, we beat who we were supposed to, we lost who we were supposed to. Like, there was no, like, we lost the Triggers now, we lost the Carbon or something like that. Like, there was never anything where it was like, oh, we got to make a team change. So we just kind of stuck it out. We did have Legend for a little bit. We dropped, so when Ghost Ayami got dropped from Instinct, we picked up Ghost. And that kind of made us a lot better. We got top 6 with them still, but it was like, damn, we're actually like really good right now. Like we lost to TD and Carbon this event, so it's like whatever. We lost the 1st and 3rd place teams, and then going into that, what you alluded to, the Hysteria Xbox event, we land before this tournament was straight. And this is back when there was just like, there wasn't TLN yet. Like maybe there was, but it wasn't like as big as it was the next year. So it's just like 2 team lands, right?
Yep.
We beat straight. I'm pretty sure 8 out of 11 series. And this was them coming off of like second, they won, got second, whatever. Like, so it was a really, really huge confidence booster for us. And we get to the event, we beat Status Quo round 1. We beat Carbon round 2, so that would have been top 6. So then we're playing TD for top 3. And
I have the clip right here, by the way.
Yeah. So we before you started, we steamroll Status Quo, we steamroll Carbon, and so we just like 3-0, like not close, maybe a couple close games. And so we're just coming off of like so much adrenaline. Like we could beat TD. They beat us pretty decently last event, but like, we're thinking we can beat them when we go to game 5. And this is where the infamous Xbox incident happens.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. So this is going to be poor quality, probably the highest quality that was available at the time, but this was so crazy. This is on Onslaught, which was like, dude, this is such bad quality. This is even worse than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, you could probably find a better quality on like the actual series. But yeah, so pretty much it's tied. It's past the 15-minute mark, so they cap, they win. His Xbox freezes as he's jumping on the flag.
Was it Heinz or was it Hysteria?
No, it wasn't Heinz's. Wasn't Heinz's Xbox. It was Hysteria's because Hysteria was host.
Was he the host box? That's right.
Yeah,
oh my God, that's crazy. They could have avoided it. If Hysteria just lags out, Heinz can still score and win the game. But because he's host, the whole lobby crashed. That's what happened.
If it's anyone else, they just win the game. Literally anybody in the lobby. If
I
it's Heinz,
had no idea it came down to that.
If it's Heinz, he lags out, and someone else just goes and caps it probably one because they were right next to him. I think we had a guy pushing like A street to top mid. Like someone's about to cap on onside. What are you doing? You're going up street. You're chucking nades. Like that's where we were. I can't say 100% we were going to lose, but it was probably 98% we were going to lose. Like something would have, like some crazy nade would have had to have happened, like a nade one shot. But anyways, yeah. So this happens. This is for top 3. This is winners semis, right? Like this is like us playing SSG and something like that. Last event we played SSG for top 3.
Yeah.
So this is it. This is the big match. Game 5 against the best team in the game, arguably,
and you guys,
at the time.
If I remember, you guys like Triggers Down was never the same team after this. Not only in this series, but even afterwards, they you guys smoked them. I think in the reset, right? Like they didn't have a chance.
Yeah. So the reset.
Was it first a 1 cap? Was that
no? It's a full re. It's a full re. So we're sitting there, right? We got a lot of shit for this. They're like, why didn't you just let them give the win? Like we didn't have a say. They didn't ask. We were just sitting there like, hey, what's the call? We sat there for like 20 minutes. I want to say it felt like an eternity. They come over, and if you did have the series pulled up, they come over and tell us, and this is when Ghost he kind of does like this, like they come over and tell us that it's a full re. He's just like, it's so funny watching back because I don't remember that happening. He's just like, and then like Puckett's like, and we just got word we're going into a full replay, and then the graphic comes up, start up, we win the replay. I mean, we didn't smoke them, but I think we won pretty convincingly. Hysteria went like negative 15 or 20.
He was probably so
checked.
So checked, and he was host. So host and Halo 3 sucked on LAN. Halo
Very
3 on
slippery.
LAN, I was always the one that had
especially
to host.
on Forge maps, dude. Yeah. Well, remember when my worst ever performance on LAN was against you guys on Onslaught CTF?
Oh yeah, the game 1.
Yeah, and I went like 2-16 or something at the qualifier tournament, and I was host, and like, dude, your shots just don't function.
No.
Like in Halo 2, it was God mode, but in Halo 3, it was like anti-aim assist, like
no magnetism.
Wrong. Yeah, it just felt so weird, and I could not fabricate a fucking kill to save my life in this game.
Yeah. So every team I was on in Halo 3 from like 09 to the end, I was host. I just said I'll do it. Like whatever, I'll do it. No one wanted to host. Like there were like maybe one event where I teamed with Naded or something. Maybe he hosted, but yeah. So we go on. We win that game. So that was game 4. That brought us to the game 5. we play game 5 Construct Slayer. It's like I'm pretty sure we're down like the whole game, you know, but it's like a few kills, right? In Construct, anything can happen. Once you get those bottom spawns, it's like, you know, you go up 2 or 3, and then it's like, all right, what do we do? Like, we wait on camo, or what was it, Overshield? No, it was Overshield at that time.
It's Overshield, yeah.
It's like, all right, we wait on Overshield, and for whatever happened, I'd have to watch it back, but like we go like three for 1 or something. TD's spawning mid gold, and you watch the rebroadcast. They have comms on. They just start shooting their guns from mid gold, and Hysteria's like, "Get down out of there!" And then we just drop down to kill him. Hysteria has all OS, and they're all spawning. We're up like 3 or 4 or whatever, and then they all just go up open, and we kill them all and win. You know, like you just like 4 push a purple with OS. Like
Yeah.
they did that, got no kills, and we just win. It was insane, and then we went crazy, and we got a lot of crap for it. You know, everyone called it a fluke or whatever, but it's like, you know, we still won 3 games against them. Like, it wasn't like we were that bad of a team. But yeah, I think that series kind of caused the whole chain reaction of like, it was going to be us or BTH to win after what, Triggers Down and Straight winning every tournament that year.
Yep.
I think TD won 2 or 3 and Straight won 2. But yeah, so another thing is, after that is when Straight and BTH played for the winners finals, and I was rooting for Straight so hard, right? Because we just land them. We have all the confidence in the world. We're gonna beat them. We didn't play BTH that much, but BTH comes out and beats Straight Rippin', and it's like, oh, okay, we got BTH to be in the finals, and then they just come out. That's an event like Cloud and Demon D were on, ascending to another level. Like, people talk about like fluke wins, but like those guys were so good. It was insane. Like they deserve to beat us, like, because we just, you know, I feel like beating Triggers Down was like our finals, because Triggers Down was the best team at that time, easily. Them and Straight, and then Carbon was kind of sneaking in. Those were the clear-cut 1 and 2.
I remember this so vividly because at the time, this had to be like the most shocking tournament result like in Halo history, I think, because it was essentially our Worlds at the time, the national championship, and Believe the Hype came in as the 7 seed, I believe.
Yeah,
and they get first place with all the like big name, like Final Boss finishing 8th.
Seeing Ogre 2 and in 8th in a nationals, I actually don't recall that ever happening. I still think he's the GOAT, but I
mean, this whole top 8 is just crazy looking to me, right? Like, this was your best placing at the time. This was their best placing by far at the time. Like, it's kind of crazy to just read through the names now too. Like Cloud, who knows where he is right now? Clutch, Caster, Maniac, content creator, Chig coach, best man coach, like Walshy caster, Lunchbox coach. Like, I don't know. There's so much history in these like
Mines competitive HCS competitive.
He runs everything.
He's the head of HCS. Pistola, obviously we wish he was still around. Snipe Down's done insane things since these days, man. It's just like
Elamite, SSG, like
SSG just won a tournament.
Ogre 2,
even Straight Rippin' got 6th in this event. Like, this is a wild. We gotta go back and watch some VOD on this, because that's like what I gotta pinpoint the series where Straight went down, Final Boss, even TD. I mean, you talked about it earlier, but
TD lost to like Carbon or Instinct and the losers, and like so Carbon and Instinct beat TD and Straight and the losers. I just don't know which way it happened.
Yeah,
walk us through a quick synopsis of 2010. How did that look?
Yeah, so coming off 2nd place, I honestly can't recall what happened, but somehow I left Classic. They picked up Toxic over me. I teamed with Defy, Walshy, and Nated, I think was the team.
Strong side.
Yeah, but it was originally Nated, I want to say. But we dropped Nated, picked up Strong Side, did really poorly. First time they didn't get top 8 in like their entire careers, I think. Strong Side and Walshy anyways. Then we went back the next event, picked Nated back up, made it respectable, got top 6, had a series versus FB that we should have won, had another crazy Nated experience that tournament where he thought the setups were rigged. The blue side was worse than the red side. Whole other story I could get into. But yeah, so like, you know, rebounding, I'm like, okay, we got a good team. Walshy, I love him, but he was on the downside of his career, so we were thinking about dropping Walshy, and me, Defy, Nated. We actually have a call, or maybe I messaged, we were going to pick up APG for Walshy. It was either APG or Enable, one of those two. We were talking about picking up. Something happens, blah 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 blah. I get a call from Mr. P, Tots' dad. He's like, "Brother, do you want to join Triggers Down? Hot Pocket sponsor. I got everything covered." I'm like, hell yeah, man. Because so Triggers Down, like you alluded to earlier, they coming after that Xbox freeze, they made a team change. They somehow picked up Tots. Ola got on another team. So they had a rough start to the season. And so this was essentially like, I guess they wanted me for whatever reason. I think Mason maybe did. Mason and Jacob, I think, really wanted me. And we rebounded really well. Obviously, we had the best practice in the world. We had TLN lands before every event. We got top 3 this event after losing to. We lost to that Warriors team right there in the middle. We lost to Snakebite actually.
Was that their tournament where they beat? Triggers Down.
And they beat me.
Wait, that was against you guys that Goofy went on that spree?
No,
that was against SK's Triggers Down.
That was the old Warriors.
Yeah, Goofy's not on this roster.
Yeah.
This was with Robbie B, bro. Crazy.
Wow. Yeah, so we lose round 1 of that Warriors team, make a run, beat a lot of teams. We took Instinct to game 5. And, that was coming up. I think they won the last tournament before that.
Mm-hmm.
And, so when things were looking good with our team. Got 3rd. And then got 2nd next event, was that?
Yeah, 2nd at DC.
2nd at DC.
Damn,
Combine event too, right? This is when Halo Reach came out, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So this was like partially a Halo 3 event and like the Reach Combine at the same time, I think.
Yeah, which is for winning my first event. Let me just real brief. Reach being here changed the broadcast system up. We played winners finals on Saturday night so they could broadcast the Reach event on Sunday. So we played Dynasty and sat in the finals from Saturday at like 5 p.m. We didn't play again for 24 hours, over 24 hours. And then this is the event where this is the event that FB lost early, and then they played from top 12 all the way to first on Sunday. And so we literally played On Fire, Fear Itself, and Prime I Got Your Pistola for my first event win. And like, if you watch that series, it's just like it was a little competitive, but like they just steamrolled us essentially 3-1, 3-1. Like the bracket reset, or it was 2 best of 5s back then. Yeah, so the reason was they wanted to showcase Reach on Sunday early instead of having the winners finals. So we were just so cold, like you guys at that Dallas 09 event or 08, whatever year it was. Just no one would scrim us. We're just playing in the pro lounge free for alls against ourselves, and this was the one I'm super sad about. Because I just feel like we were on another level this event, and leading into it, like all the lands, we were winning the lands. Like we'd have best overall series wins. I don't know how much you followed back in the day, but like TLN, you essentially land, and then the last day you have like a big tournament. And like I don't know if we won the tournament or got 2nd. Like so, pretty much at the TLNs, we were just the best team there, if not the 2nd best team. And this is when all the teams would show up, right? We'd have FB, Instinct, SQ, TD there, Dynasty, whoever it was at the time. It's like a 5 or 6 team LAN, and just no one played online back in the day. You just, all right, we got a LAN coming up, and then we got the event. So yeah, super unfortunate. And then going into championships, we got 5th or 4th. Also had a game 5 with Instinct that we should have won. And then this was event Status Quo made a crazy run, and they beat us game 5 as well. Lost 2 game 5s at champs. Like, what can you do?
T-Squared was coaching. What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is pretty much the prime of my career. Reach came out shortly after, or I guess it was already out, and I just stopped caring. I didn't play. I regret a lot of things about it because I wish I just kept playing and trying. I mean, there's a whole history to go on about, but like we'd be here for another hour. So right. a lot of bad team changes led to I think that Goofy Neighbor Arcanum team. We weren't that bad. We got top 6 at Orlando. Let me touch on that one actually. Top 6 at Orlando. We basically didn't practice. Like we did, but we didn't. Right? Like let's look at our roster. Like this is not
such
our
a random.
team.
Like you can't really find any rhyme or reason on that roster.
So that Warriors team: Snakebite, Clutch, Dursky Royal 2. We went to game 6 with them. We tied Pit TS game 5 and then lost the 5-minute Pit TS replay, like,
Wow.
20 to 18.
Oh yeah.
And hear me out. This series we played, what's the map? Like, is it No, not Redemption. It's like Oasis, maybe? I don't know. Some random Forge match in Reach that had a creek that went through it. Super big.
I know what you're talking about.
Reach had so many
With the
different
pro
map
pipe on
changes. I think so. It had Evade. Anyways, Royal 2 went on a 25 spree against us this tournament. No one saw it except the people watching there because there's no VOD for it. 25
spree.
25 spree Royal 2.
And was it flag?
Yeah, I think so. Whatever it was. I played the map like 5 times, so like. But anyways, I forget who we lost to in winners bracket. Somebody decent, like Ryan Noob's team, just got smoked, and then lost to Warriors for top 4, I guess. Yeah, it would have been top 4.
It would have been for top 4.
Yeah, that was. I wish so I wish there was VOD from some of these events because like. It would just be so fun to watch them. Like, there's probably 40 people that would probably care to go back and watch. So, but MLG nuked everything. MLG had a lot of stuff on their website that got nuked. A lot of individual VOD from back in the day. That's kind of sad, but yeah. So we got top 12 the next event. The best teams at Providence. It's national championship. It's whatever. And then Halo kind of died. We had that. Kind of one send off, no bloom, no sprint event where they're like, hey, and the MLG Columbus 2012 was like, hey, we're going to try this one more time. Well, it was pretty well received. Like a lot of teams showed up and, but that was it. Like StarCraft was taking over Call of Duty at that point as well.
Auto's blowing up at that point.
Yeah. And then they had that Halo 4 event that came out, the pre-release event.
This is so crazy looking at, man. Like, sorry to cut you off, but like, dude, you've teamed with like, it seems like everybody, bro. There was you, Ninja, Walshy, and Micklin.
Turning Point team? Turning Point, was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I could touch on that one a little bit. Like, it was fun team with Ninja because I was streaming at the time. So like I was just farming his viewers as much as I could. Because like Ninja back in the day, it'd be like he'd stream, you have 1,000 viewers. He wouldn't stream, you'd get your 300 or 400, which was great back then. But I actually did pretty well in streaming even when he was streaming. Like I'd get like 80 to 100 viewers, which was great back then, and just spam ads every 30 minutes because the only way you could make money back then. There was no sub button for a little while after that. But yeah, so that was a good team. We actually landed at a Red Bull event that's on YouTube. It was like Status Quo, us, and Warriors, like a 3-team land Red Bull hosted in New York City. And it was an awesome event. DMAC hosted it, and then there was this Playboy model named Joe Garcia also hosted it with DMAC. Some crazy lord. But so I hated teaming with Ninja because he was back then, as most people probably don't know, he was just really egotistical, kind of abrasive, kind of an asshole, spoke his mind, really cared about his stream. So like he had viewers that he was trying to impress. Pretty much miserable teaming with him as a teammate. I love him, everything he's done in his life and all that. But right before the deadline, I left their team and joined that Royal 2 Arcanum. Oh my God, we got to touch on this one. Actually, yeah, we got to touch on this. Sorry, this is going to be such a long episode. So I left their team 5 minutes before the deadline because because Ninja sent out a tweet because I didn't want to come home and scrim because I was at Defy's house for a week after the tournament. I went to Defy's house after Anaheim, and then I was going to drive home. So I flew into DC because it was a direct flight, and then I took a train, took a bus home or something. Anyways, I was at Defy's house for a week. Ninja was mad at me because I didn't want to play Halo. I was there. I'm not getting on a scrim at Defy's house. Like Defy was out of the scene at this point. He wasn't playing Halo. Sent out a tweet saying that I'd rather much land Halo 1 than practice with this team. That night, I left for Clutch, Royal 2, and Arcanum. This team was a really good team at the point. Like I wanted the team with Royal 2 bad. Like, most people saw his potential like around then. Like he was like this online kid, just getting crazy stats, just being super annoying. So yeah, that sucked. I feel like this could have been a turning point, no pun intended, back from my career if I just somehow hang on to Royal 2. But we place bad, and then they make that Warriors team, Snakebite, Royal 2, Dursky, and Clutch. And the rest is history from there. That's when they went on their run of like top 3, top 4, like their entire careers. And
Warriors kind of like, what would be their comp in Halo Infinite? Maybe Native Red when they were a consistent 5-6 squad, and then they jumped into top 3. Would that be a good comp?
Yeah, for sure. And then eventually Royal 2 and Snakebite. I don't know what their paths were like after this, but I guess we had Halo 4 that came out, kind of like made everything a little weird. But once they teamed back up, in H2A or something?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, Halo kind of dies. There's that random, I actually get 4th at that MLG Dallas with Kobe, Devin, and Sargoth.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was good, getting Kobe top 4. Like his dad was awesome, his family's awesome.
That was when he became a pro, right?
Who?
I think
Kobe, right?
Yeah. So then he went to a few tournaments after this that I didn't go to. AGL tournaments that were like super small, and because Halo pretty much MLG Halo died after this event. This was like, we're gonna see what it's like, and we show up or we walk into the venue, we're just like right there. Like, we're just in this like corner as soon as you walk in, and the rest of the venue is StarCraft and Call of Duty, I'm pretty sure. Because this is a Dallas. This is a Dallas Convention Center, right? Like, this is a big tournament. I don't remember what else was there, but I'm pretty sure it was Call of Duty and StarCraft. But yeah, it was a fun event. We were playing on Turtle Beach mix amps. Setups were super scuffed, and everyone was like, play the game before. I didn't play the game. I didn't play any Halo. I just showed up. But people were like landing Halo 4 before it went, before it went public illegally.
Yeah, I remember that.
But yes. So MLG Halo kind of died after this. I went to that one tournament that Ace won, the global championship.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's probably not on here, but
yeah, it doesn't look like it's on here.
Well, I went to AGLs, I guess. So yeah, these are pretty much like, going to a local, but they were fun. I can't lie. Like, there was a lot of good teams that went. I mean, look at these names. It's kind of insane to look back on.
Yeah, this is crazy for a local. Yeah.
Like Formal, Heinz, Ola, and Snipe Down. But like,
Spectre and Nemesis got top 8 at this too. That's crazy.
Yeah, I got no idea who they were back then.
They must have been super young at the time.
Yeah.
So we talked about that Native Red roster with Soul Snipe, right? And now Suppressed more recently. I think this is a good segue maybe to current, unless you have anything else that you want to touch on towards the latter part of your career, because it looks like we're getting into some SRs on Wikipedia.
Yeah, so if you scroll down after Halo 4, that 5-year gap is pretty much when I went into right after 2013. 2013, I met my now wife, who I reconnected with. I've known her pretty much my whole life since we were in middle school. We started talking again, and we began a relationship, and then that's when I moved out to Iowa from Pennsylvania. And yeah, pretty much this whole gap is I'm just IRL. Like, I workforce, got a good job, worked my way up at this other company I was at. Then MCC. So then this H2A comes out. I didn't play any H2A. I played a little bit of Halo 5 with Campy in the beginning. We were doing like social stuff, free for alls and all that. But yeah, other than a few months of Halo 5, I didn't pay attention at all. I find out about that MCC tournament where you can see me and Neighbor went. There was a 2v2 tournament at the last Halo 5 tournament. It was DreamHack Atlanta.
Oh.
And I found out about this. I'm like, yeah, I'll go. So I go out and buy an Xbox, and we didn't really practice too much, but there was a lot of good MCC players, like Tusk and Master Fear, Vader, Gun-Type. These guys are playing MCC for years. Gabriel and Fantasy, MCC Gods, Flamesword and Roy obviously lost them. Yeah, so I come back and start to show a little bit of interest. I was going to compete. So Halo 5's done, right? So HCS, I think, partners with like UMG or somebody, and they do all these MCC tournaments for like a year, and it's Halo 3, and then I think they did one Halo Reach one. But trying to work at 8 to 5 while having a wife and then practicing was just, I don't know how anyone could ever do that. So yeah, I played in a couple online cups, as you can see. Flamesword Ace Neighbor was going to be the team, and then I played with Tusk, Wenser, and Fire. So this is early Tusk.
Wow.
Like, I don't think anybody knew who Tusk was at this point, besides people that were playing MCC. Ace Neighbor Assault. Yeah, so I played a couple online stuff and then went back to, I was like, I can't do it. I cannot wake up at 6:30 in the morning and come home and scrim against Master Fear and Tusk at 8 p.m. You know what I mean? Like, this is my life. And trying to balance a relationship and have a life. Like, I just had no life. So yeah, I went back, didn't really pay too much attention. Like, I watched some of the events that happened. There was a lot of cool Halo 3 events. There was like St. Louis. They eventually had a Reach one, like Reliable competed in, like I saw him come back for. And then, so yeah, Twitch Rivals happens. I get an email from someone at Esports Engine or whoever was, the tournament organizer. And like, hey, do you want to do this? And I'm just like, I had to call off work. It's like a weekday. I'm like, I don't know. I was like, just put me down as no. And then I think about it for a few days. I'm like, you know what? I can do it. I take off PTO for a day. It's like a Monday at noon it starts. And then luckily I did because then Ninja throws what $50,000 or $100,000.
He doubled it. Doubled every tourney.
I'm like, oh my god, I would have been so pissed if I said no to this. So I say yes to the Halo 2 one. Didn't do that great in it. I did actually pretty good in the free for all. Like I didn't play at all. Like, and these guys have been playing all the time. And then the Halo 3 one I practiced a little bit for. And end up doing pretty well in.
If you didn't take your PTO, Ninja might have hit me up for this, so I would have been able to play in it. But
yeah, it wasn't. I don't know if it was Ninja that was going out the names. Like I don't know who it was. Like I never talked to Ninja about it. I just got an email like, hey, do you want to do this? I'm like, yeah, I guess. And then the Halo 3 one comes back. I'm like, yes, instant yes. Like, like no way I'm saying no to this. And that one I actually made a lot of money, and I think I made like $12,000 total.
Wow.
Yeah, which is got second.
Yeah. So and then the free for all or big team battle match or whatever we played.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm playing against Ace and Tylenol in the finals. Like those guys played all day. Like,
oh yeah.
I did I did okay though. Like I was playing on a 60 hertz monitor still. Like.
Not bad for a day of work.
I was in the dumps, and yeah, it was cool though. And then shortly after this, Infinite comes out a few months later.
Yeah, this is right before the hype for Halo Infinite was at like an all-time high. This was like the ultimate pre-tournament because I think it was the month before Infinite came out.
I think it was the same month, right? Or they came out in November.
Yeah, it was one month. It was a month to the day almost that Infinite came out.
To summarize, I wasn't planning on coming back. This was all by accident. Anyways, I get a random text or a call from Bravo in like January. So this is after the first event, in between Raleigh and Anaheim. And he was like, hey, do you mind if I give your name to this organization? They're looking for a Halo coach with the Halo experience. It's a team full of kids from another game, Gears of War and Call of Duty. I'm like, okay, like who is it? And they're like, oh, it's Shopify Rebellion. I'm like, Shopify? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, it's an org. They're very new to esports, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, who am I going to talk to? And he's like, it's actually TLO from StarCraft back in the day, who I knew. I followed StarCraft. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what is going on here? Like, apparently Bravo and him used to be sponsored by some random cell phone company that MLG shelled out,
Boost
for
Mobile.
a year. Yeah, like hidden.
I remember
like,
that. I remember Bravo in those ads.
Yeah, exactly. One of those phones, and I guess they were all sponsored. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I had no idea what it was going to entail. I finally set up the interview with Dario, aka TLO, who's the one of the managers. I don't know his specific role now. And he was just like, yeah, this is what we're looking for. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. I'd be interested in this. It's a paid gig. I was like, well, what are my hours looking like here? Like, would I be able to do this like part time? Like I have a real job. And he's like, no, this is a full time position. I'm like, this would require you like quitting your job. I'm like, oh shit. And then once I was like, this is all like shell shock for me because I didn't realize that how much. I've never been involved in Halo where there's been salaries and stuff like that.
Right.
So it was all like new, and I'm just like, all right, let me think about it. And then I was just, talked to my wife. We were planning on moving from Iowa down here to Texas anyways, eventually. So it's kind of a perfect segue into like another job where it'd be remote. And I was like, I'll take it. I did like a trial run at first. That's how it started. So like a week or two of hanging with the guys in Discord, watching games, and I had to brush up on Infinite as well. Like I hadn't been playing, and especially at a pro level. So like I'm watching VOD, I'm watching any streams I can. I'm like I gotta sharpen up too. Like I have a Halo mind, but this is still a new gen Halo.
It's very different, yeah.
Yeah, but it comes so easily. Like once you just like a month, like especially once you started playing too. Like that was my mistake, as I should have been playing while watching this, because trying to articulate thoughts and processes without playing, and it's a lot harder than just like, yeah, I can do this. So anyways, yeah, fast forward, get Ryan and Rain on board. Obviously org's becoming a little bit less, what would be the word, fruitful going into year 2. So that helps having the backing of Shopify Rebellion, and I think they were really intrigued with Mental. We did that team with Carmea, Rain, Ryan, Mental. Had a pretty good start to the season. We got top 6 a couple times, but I think we kind of just hit a brick wall with Jason. Carmea, now known as Descendant, and we picked up Cycle because a bunch of team changes happened mid-year. Yeah, we were never really able to get over that top 6 hump. I think we actually had a bad placement. We got top 12, top 8, top 6, then top 8 at Worlds, which doesn't look like it's updated on here. It was not a bad second season for Billy at all. Like it's so hard to go to another game and just kind of build your name from without knowing anybody. Like these guys had no idea who I was 2 years ago. Psycho came from Big Team Battle, MCC, and now he's like, I think one of the best players in the game. I just want to touch on what we talked about earlier about, going into facing these roster changes and decisions. We made a couple changes. We dropped Ryan right away. We just kind of wanted, like, we know what we're getting with Ryan. I love Ryan. I still consider him a friend. We talk a lot, but we just kind of had different philosophies. Like he has a way he wants to play and wants his team to play, and it's kind of like that's kind of set for a team, and we kind of wanted to mix it up. Fast forward, we make the change to want to drop Rain as well. We want to pick up a duo, and when looking at that Native Red roster, we kind of just wanted to combine teams. And I think a lot of people probably would have said Talik, because Talik's always been, in my eyes, known as like the best player on that team. And the more I looked into it and the more VOD I watched, I just thought like picking up a Soul Snipe and taking Donnie Suppressed as that duo instead of like maybe like Suppressed and Talik. Stat-wise, those are probably the 2 best on Native Red, right? So that's kind of like that decision I went into. Like, you need a player like Soul Snipe. Like he reminds me of Ryan almost in terms of play styles, but he's just a little bit younger, a little bit more like, fresh. And that's not a knock on Ryan. Like, he's obviously still doing it. Like, he can just make a roster and get top 6. Like you know what I mean? Like, it's just what he does. So yeah, like making that roster, that's kind of what we wanted. We wanted to, have a well-rounded team, and I think we got it right now. I think we're really close to being in that top 3. And I mean, honestly, it sounds crazy saying it, but I think we were close to winning the event. Like,
I think so too.
You guys look like you're about to beat that FaZe in that series, right? Up in moments too, where it not only felt like it looked like it. And what was it in particular that you think could maybe get you guys over the hump? Because I think everybody agrees you guys are right there to potentially break into that big 3, which looked impossible throughout most of Halo Infinite.
I think it's just about sticking to like your script mid-game, because if you watch the Game 5 Slayer back against FaZe, we kind of, and it's even reflects in our comms, we kind of stopped moving a little bit. And like when you make those mistakes against these good teams, like, they punish you for it. That's why they're so good. That's why there's so much parity right now in this game. It's why the top teams keep winning. They don't make mistakes like even teams like us and below do. Like, they just don't make mistakes like us. And I think it's what it comes down to, making those little mistakes as possible in those tournament matchups. Like we were really good at Slayer. Like, we got jinxed by the casters saying, oh, they're 6-0, they're 7-0, and then we just go on and lose the one that matters the most. But like, Slayer is one of our really good game types, and people complain about it, but it's in 2 games in a best of 5. You got to be good at them. So yeah, I think just go back to trying to watch some VOD, watch some more gameplay from SSG, Optic, FaZe, and figure it out a little bit. Like, even the SSG series in the winners bracket, we were 2 seconds away from winning the first game, and
Yeah.
We win game 2, we're up 2-0, and I'm confident in any game 5 Slayer versus anybody. Any Slayer against any team, I'm confident in. So
What was it about the off season and getting involved? You guys were in every single tournament, it seemed like. Did that help play a role in a top 4 this weekend or last weekend, or?
For sure. I think we played in pretty much every tournament that we could. There may have been a few early on that like Suppressed was playing with his friends or brothers in, that just people were just doing other stuff. We weren't scrimming yet, but yeah, we tried playing every single thing as possible. Like I definitely do think that helped. Just getting on a good scrim regimen. We're lucky to have a weekly scrim with Optic and FaZe. I think pretty much every week before the tournament, except a couple. And then, SSG as well. I think that's where you can be beneficial. So like having a boot camp before the event and actually taking scrim serious is super helpful. And we got together a few days before. We had some travel issues, so our boot camp got cut in half. But like we had 3 or 4 days of really good scrims and VOD watching that really helped us. And we're gonna do that again before London. We head up to Toronto. It's gonna help our travel as well. So we'll just have to fly from Toronto to London instead of from home to London.
Smart.
And so we'll be up there a week before. I think we actually might go to another tournament before London as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and a sunny tournament potentially.
Sunny State. that might be happening. We're also going to play in all the cups too, even though we don't have to.
That's really interesting. I'm shocked to hear that.
Yeah. So we still accrue points through the cups.
Do you suspect that the other top? Because I thought top 6 teams, the ones that are already qualified, there's no way they participate. Do you think they will?
I'm not going to tell them to, but they should. I know complexity is, but
it's good practice. You get points. I don't see why not, to be honest.
Any tournament gameplay you can get is great.
I've been quoted saying, of all the teams, though, I feel like Shopify Rebellion could just randomly win an event out of nowhere. Like just catch fire and just like run everyone over. Because I feel like when Suppressed is playing his best, when Soul Snipe is playing his best, when Mental's like, honestly, all these guys can just take over a game. But like for me, lately it's been Soul Snipe and Suppressed specifically. Like these guys have reached a new level with the Bandit meta and can just absolutely take over a game. And it doesn't even matter who they're playing against. If they like just play off that steamroll intensity and just sheer firepower. Like I feel like the sheer firepower on that roster is just, it matches the top 3 in my opinion. In your eyes as a competitor, now a coach, like I'm just curious because I've thought about this myself. Like what is it that makes it so these top 3 teams just happen to clutch up like a little bit more than others in the moments that matter most? Is it the experience? Is it just ice? Is it them talking through a game plan a bit better, more in depth in the end game? Like, what do you think it is?
Yeah, I think all those points match up really well. Alluding to like, you just don't see like, there's a general term of like people scamming. Like everybody kind of scams, right? Like you hear about it a lot. Like, oh, he's scamming, getting one shot. But like, you just don't see FaZe may be a bad example because they didn't have that great of a tournament, but they don't scam that hard. And I think that's what comes down to tournament gameplay is just like I said earlier, those mistakes that teams like us and below make, those guys just don't make it at that top level. The games slow down so much more in tournament gameplay at LANs than even online tournaments.
Especially when you watch the top teams.
Yeah, when you watch a scrim, you'll never see Optic play a scrim like they do at a tournament. Like they play so much more methodically at tournaments. And I think that's kind of what our team struggled with last year. We wanted to keep playing like a faster pace. And it would just get us in a hole sometimes on Strongholds and Slayer, like when things can snowball out of control. And I think with our new team, we're able to play at that faster pace, but then also recognize, all right, we got to switch it up a little bit. And I think that's what the Big 3 does so well. And when it comes to LAN gameplay, the game is so much different. You just watch one gameplay from the last tournament and then go watch a complexity scrim online. It's not the same thing, or whoever's scrimming, whoever's streaming a scrim online, it's just not the same.
From my eyes, as like an analytical mind watching, like it feels like pace management is like the number one differentiator between teams. It's like knowing when to speed up and slow down, when to like set traps per se. Like if a team's playing too fast, like just let them run into you in certain spots, or recognizing just small windows of opportunity where you can push into them in situations they wouldn't expect it. It's like just that modulation of fast and slow is what the meta is, I think, at the highest level of this game.
Yeah, I agree. And I do think ice plays a little bit of part into it. You know, thinking back to last year, I've said this to a lot of different people. I thought SSG was the best team last year overall. But when you look at tournament results, they won their own tournament. They didn't win any others. And so then they made that move in the offseason. Well, you know, there was also other rumors that Stellar was leaving to go to Optic. I'm glad that didn't happen either, because that would have been crazy.
That would be scary.
But like, you know, their backup plan was like, all right, let's bring Legend over, and it's like, all right, they got a little bit better. When it comes to those different factors, they play so well at keeping their pace to their own, and like they're so hard to play against, because they just like they like Optic and FaZe play a little bit more slow, you know, at tournaments. You know, going back to talking about the more methodical gameplay. But SSG just goes like they slow it down eventually, like you saw in some of those Slayers. But like in a live fire ball game or a Strongholds games, those guys are just going out, man. Like Legend and Bound, like they're just in there, like they just don't care. That like if they spawn up, they're not losing that space. Like they're getting that space back instantly. Whereas some of these other teams are just like, all right, well, what are we going to do here? Or it's just like, no, they just go. And that's how they were last year, but they just didn't ice up at the tournaments.
Think about Worlds. Remember, Worlds was the greatest example of that. Lower finals, 1 second left on the clock, and they make that push through to the fridge on yellow side of Aquarius, and they get the clutch kill, right, with 0-0 on the board. But with OT starting, a nade comes out from Renegade or Snakebite, I think it was, Royal 2, and takes down one of the members of SSG. So it's like, that to me was huge, because it's like, okay, SSG has the cojones to push through 0-0-1 on the clock. You got to get one kill, and they get it, and they still don't win. Like that to me was a great example of almost like what their ice could look like, but never actually materializes into. It never did.
And I think they just got to that point where they needed to make a change, and then just happened to be like Zane was like not the scapegoat, but like kind of like the odd man out, because like you're never dropping Eco, you're never dropping Bound, and obviously Stellar is never being dropped on a team ever unless he's like 45 and washed. but like you know, like I just love. I think that's kind of how I want our team to play. Like, you know, we play. Teams don't like playing against us online. Like I get DMs from players on the top 3 teams that DM me, then just like, you know, Cycle better do this at LAN, and because if you go through our scrim results, like we're there, we compete or win with the best online. So it was nice to translate a little bit at the tournament, but not all the way, because we didn't beat any of them, but we were close. But the tournament kind of proved to me what I was thinking. Like, we can beat Complexity, we can beat, you know, whoever we play that we're supposed to beat, we can beat. And you know, Sentinels will come back stronger, and obviously Foe is a new force to be reckoned with. We've been saying Foe is going to end up better. It just sucks to keep getting poached. You know, because I think their roster was nastier when they had Snipe Drone on team. But yeah, like, because I think Jimbo has definitely improved with the Bandits. Mighty has improved a lot too over the years.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So like they could be that also that top 6 contender. Like they've proven they can beat, you know, whoever they play. They got to show up consistently, because they're not going to get scrims. They're not going to be in the online tournaments. So they're always going to be an unknown with them and Quadrant now. Because
I think teams are still figuring out how to play against a mouse and keyboard that can instantly react to and take on a gunfight, that a controller has the different timing. Like there's a little bit more of a lag between it, but Woodham, he can instantly crank on your forehead, and I've noticed a lot of teams got caught off guard by that at the first LAN.
Just don't challenge
stuff too.
Yeah, just don't challenge long range.
Dude, he's insane. Have you seen him with the commando, bro? Like this commando is shredding.
I see like Soul Sniper, someone starts shooting him like C-plat. I'm like, you better get behind cover, everybody, or else you're getting turned on. Like, you know, like we warmed up against them in the pro or in the pro rooms, you know, backstage, and like I think they actually beat us like 4-3, and I saw Woodham doing some crazy stuff to us in those scrims, but when it came to tournament time, you know, we clutched up a little bit. We weren't losing to anybody that day, but we didn't lose anybody on Saturday. Well, I guess never mind. We lost to SSG, but I knew like whoever was going to win, Foe or Proton, I was like, there's no way we're losing this for top 4. Like we're making it to Sunday. And we come out and lose game 1. I'm like, oh shit! But, you know,
King
free
game,
adrenaline.
right?
Yeah, we choked it too. Like that was and that was the difference. It wasn't like we got outplayed. We got outplayed in the sense we lost the map, but I didn't think that we did anything wrong in terms of gameplay. And we just choked the end of the hills. Like just like that one push that we needed to break, or that one push that we needed to hold off, we didn't do. Because I think we were up 3-1 and lost. So I knew we were okay. Like it's like, all right, we're not playing bad. We just messed up a little bit and just bounce back with the Slayer, and it's like, all right, we're cool.
Let's slide the conversation towards the future. And you got one of those guys on the squad in Cycle who, Eli, I remember last year he had to miss out on a couple online tournaments because he had soccer practice. I mean,
Yeah,
how
old
much
is he now?
upside does Cycle have?
I think he missed the tournament for finals. He was in high school last year on our team, so he just graduated high school, and now he's actually taking college classes, which I told him he's insane for. But
Yeah, that's tough to balance.
yeah, so he's in college right now. So our Monday and Wednesday scrims are a little bit later, but every other day we're 3 central scrims. So yeah, the future is. I mean, I think he's the best player in the game. You know, not on the top 3 teams.
Personally, I love when a player's gamer tag matches their gameplay, right? Like Snipedown's insane with the sniper. Cycle is literally like a little Tasmanian devil just rotating around the map. And I think, Nick, he fits in really well with Soul Snipe, who you mentioned plays a lot like Ryan Noob. I think especially so when it comes to the cheeky ways they try to manipulate and flank the opposition on the map. Soul Snipe and Ryan Noob kind of reminded me of that. When you got Cycle, who's just causing chaos, it seems like you guys have found that composition. And it's really interesting. I'm glad you talked about, you know, looking to combine different versions of Native Red and Shopify, a little complexity, or whoever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
It could have gone totally like a lot of different directions for this squad, but I think you guys are, I mean, based on especially the results at Arlington, you guys are in the driver's seat for breaking into that big 3. And, you know, talk to me about how Cycle and Soul Snipe work together, and really how the team has all come together to give you guys the most upside we've ever seen from your squad.
Yeah, I think you know, Cycle didn't have like much experience with teams, right? Because it's like he just kind of showed up and he was on a team with like Carmea, Piggy, and Neuronical or something year 1. And so like he didn't really know anybody, he didn't talk to anybody. So like bringing him on the team last year and just and getting that Ryan and Rain experience really helped him like grow as a player a little bit. And just kind of figure out like how teams operate. So then, you know, for Billy as well as Cycle, getting this like new, like just completely new players on the team that have a different outlook on Halo than than veterans like Ryan and Rain, I think were just perfect for what we needed. And then on the opposite end, getting Soul Snipe away from his friends. Like obviously they had a good run, but I think they kind of capped their potential of what they could be. I just don't think that for group of 4 or 5 players or whoever, you know, that they rotated in and out, we're ever going to win a tournament. So like getting them away and kind of getting Soul Snipe to start fresh. You know, Suppress has been on a bunch of different teams. He's kind of doesn't really pertain to it. But like just getting Soul Snipe away from his best friends, it's not always the best thing to be stuck teaming with your friends for so long and not really breaking through. Obviously, they showed promises with their top 3 at Worlds, the one event and stuff like that. But I think that really going to be beneficial for Soul Snipe as well in regards to Cycle. Just getting like these, just trying to mend these players all together that have completely different outlooks on Halo. Will really be beneficial, because I mean Mental has no experience prior to Halo Infinite, maybe playing Halo 5 for like a couple months, and Cycle is a big team battle social kid, like playing clan raids or whatever, you know, like that's like they were still
they were so young. Like
yeah,
was his first Halo, like Halo 4 maybe?
Yeah, I think so, like Halo 4 or Halo 5 or MCC. I'm pretty sure it was MCC. Like
Makes
Pretty
sense.
sure he
yeah.
just downloaded MCC. Like he was doing clan raids with Bound last year against clan, like they call them clan kids or whatever. Like they do these big team battle matches on like these weird maps. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's really fascinating. Bound streamed a couple of them on a fake account on Twitch that I watched. It's like these big maps where you kind of set up. You have like one sniper, then like you have your people going in. It's like to 1,000 kills, and like King Nick plays in them too. Like it kind of blew my
everything. I feel like
I know,
it doesn't
like-
matter the Halo. He plays it all.
yeah. Like he's playing Halo 1 tournaments still. Like that King Nick guy is an anomaly for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think to answer your question, I think combining these teams, these players, will kind of break that ceiling that both of our teams couldn't reach last year, and that's what I'm hopeful for. And we showed a little glimpse of it last event, and hopefully London we can prove that it wasn't a fluke and that we can pull off a win. I think we can win. Everyone should always think they can win an event. But now it's real to the point. It's like we win that series against FaZe. I think we could have won the event. Like that. It may sound like cope or delusion, but that's just how it feels now. It's just like we can win any event that we play in.
At some point in time, a big three is going to go down to a Shopify Rebellion this year. And I think you can take that to the bank.
Yeah, and then just if it happens at Worlds, that'd be even better.
Yeah,
I'm down to take any event when I can get. It'd be a sick feeling as a coach to get a win.
Well, Eli, any final questions before we rapid fire a couple at Nick before we conclude the podcast? You got anything for us?
No, man. I think I've said it already. I believe in you guys a lot. It's really cool to just see how many of us from the old days are still here. I mean, you got to think that us three were in FFA lobby back in 2004. Here we are, still heavily involved in the scene. I think it's kind of, I don't know, not to like toot our horns too much, but like it kind of is necessary, I think, for the ecosystem just to have some like older heads that are keeping these youngins in check. You know what I mean? like at least use our experience to help them. And it just kind of the sport is just growing like exponentially at this point to where, dude, we're going to see some of the most insane Halo we've ever seen this year. I think like the slimmest of margins of victory. And I don't know, man, it's just really cool that we're all still a part of this. Honestly, I think it's dope.
Yeah. 20 years plus for all of us, which would make us a senior citizen if we combined our years of Halo together, which is crazy because we're not that old yet, right? Jeez, maybe we are. All right. Well, to close things out,
Feels
got a
pretty
couple
old
of
sometimes.
yeah, they were, and they still are. That's what excites me is that I feel some of that nostalgic energy and electricity that was there in the classic Halos. I still see that with Infinite, and I think even doing stuff like this is going to help carry the narrative and string together the tournaments, right? Where there's sometimes 2 months a separation between events. I think this is going to be huge for kind of stringing the gap together. So we really appreciate you, Nick, coming on, and we'll just get to a couple quick. You could do one short answer if you'd like, but
Okay.
We'll start here. Favorite Halo?
Halo 2.
Favorite Halo weapon?
BR.
Favorite
Halo 2 BR.
Halo 2 BR. Okay, that's important to
Double shot,
specify.
BXR. Yeah.
Favorite duo?
I've had a couple. I had to be Defy.
I was gonna say, if you say anybody other than Defy,
we're in each other's weddings. Like, yeah.
Okay,
Defy.
You guys have crossed into IRL barriers where, like you said, you're hanging out with them for a week. I imagine it's Defy, and I thought so, but I always like asking the players scene what they think. It's always a hard question too, because there's a lot of good friends we make throughout the years.
For sure.
And then your fondest Halo memory?
Fondest Halo memory. Shoot. There's a couple. The most obvious one is the beating triggers down with like the Xbox stuff that happened, but like it's hard to call that, like, because there's so much controversy around it. I don't know. Like, I have a weird one. The most random experience I had was Orlando 2007. I was teaming with, I think what team we looked at earlier, Sure Shot, Bullets, Xenios. We're playing FB on lockout ball, game 1. And we lose. It was a close game. It wasn't bad. It was respectable, right? It's final boss. And I look up, and like I'm on the end, right? I look up, and Gilbert Arenas is just looking at me. He's like, "Which one is best man?" I'm like, "That's me." And I was like, he said you 5 suicides, because Halo 2 said suicides.
Yeah.
Like, even if you jump off and get killed, it still counts as a suicide.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, I don't know. I just, I was trying to push and I got shot. He's like, you can't be having 5 suicides, man. And like they're all just laughing. I'm like, they're not real suicides. Like I got shot and jumped off. Back.
Well,
Like,
it's oddball, so you have to play the ball, right? Like,
exactly. Like they're whatever it was, but like everyone else had like 1 or 0 or something. Like I'm like,
Gilbert's just looking at the scoreboard, looking for something to roast. Like,
he's looking at
cherry
like,
picking off the post game Carnage report. Who's best man?
Because someone came around with the camera and took a picture. I'm pretty sure of stats back then, even back then.
Oh yeah, the refs would always record it.
That's one of my fondest memories and then talking to him after the series too, because it was surreal to have Gilbert Arenas in Halo back then.
All-star, bigger than life NBA player at the time. All right, well,
Cool.
Nick, thank you so much for sharing some incredible memories and the story of your Halo career throughout. It was awesome to listen to. Make sure you guys subscribe to myself and Eli's YouTube channel. We'll be going back and forth, posting each episode to each other's channel each and every week. I don't really want to put a timeline on it exactly. We'll upload when we get a chance to. We got a lot of exciting guests planned. So, Nick, thank you, so much for coming on. Any final words before we split?
No, just keep supporting all the Twitch channels, all the Halo channels, everyone that's streaming Halo, LBT, HCS, everybody that's everyone is doing as much as they can. That everyone needs to get their love and their flowers for helping the scene as much as possible right now. So yeah, that's all I gotta say, and see everyone at HCS London or maybe a tournament before that as well.
All right. And we'll also have Nick's socials put in the description below so you guys can make sure to check him out on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, all that good stuff. With that being said, make sure you guys subscribe for more Tide the Leader podcast. We'll have more exciting guests coming up soon, so don't miss that. Until then, y'all take care, stay positive, keep sniping. We'll see you in the next one.